Hockey isn't just about goals and glory. It's about those bone-crunching, jaw-dropping hits that leave fans speechless. Today, we're diving into the 20 most brutal hits in NHL history. Let's get started. 1. Scott Stevens versus Paul Kariya. We're kicking things off with one of the most famous hits in NHL history. In the 2003 Stanley Cup Final, Scott Stevens of the New Jersey Devils absolutely crushed Paul Kariya of the Anaheim Ducks. Kariya was knocked out cold and didn't return to the game. It was a clean but brutal hit that became a defining moment for Stevens' career and one that players and fans still talk about today. 2. Zdeno Chara versus Max Pacioretty. In a game between the Boston Bruins and Montreal Canadiens in 2011, Zdeno Chara delivered a hit that left Max Pacioretty with a serious neck injury. Chara sent Pacioretty headfirst into the stanchion, a hit that raised serious concerns about player safety. Even though it wasn't called a penalty, the force of the hit made it one of the most talked about moments in the NHL's history. 3. Alex Ovechkin versus Andrei Svechnikov. When Alex Ovechkin hit Andrei Svechnikov in the 2019 playoffs, the rookie was knocked out cold after a brutal open ice hit. Ovechkin didn't pull any punches, sending Svechnikov into the ice and leaving him with a concussion. The hit was clean, but it sparked intense discussion about the line between clean and dirty hits. It was one of those, "did that really just happen?" moments. 4. Brad Marchand versus Marcus Johansson, 2018 playoffs. Brad Marchand is no stranger to controversy, and in the 2018 playoffs, he laid out Marcus Johansson of the New Jersey Devils with a hit that left Johansson unconscious on the ice. This one was brutal, and Marchand's reputation as a dirty player was further cemented. However, this hit also showed the unpredictable nature of hockey's physicality. 5. Matt Cook versus Mark Savard. In 2010, Matt Cook of the Pittsburgh Penguins delivered a hit on Mark Savard that left Savard with a concussion that ended his career. The hit was from behind, and while Cook didn't initially receive a major penalty, it sparked outrage across the league, highlighting the risks of head injuries and concussions in the NHL. 6. Bobby Orr versus Matt Pavelich. One of the earliest iconic hits on this list happened in the 1970 Stanley Cup Final, when Bobby Orr flattened Matt Pavelich of the St. Louis Blues. Orr, known for his offensive brilliance, wasn't shy about laying a big hit when the occasion called for it, and this hit was a defining moment in NHL history. 7. Brent Seabrook versus David Bax. In the 2014 playoffs, Brent Seabrook of the Chicago Blackhawks delivered one of the most crushing hits of the series on David Bax of the St. Louis Blues. Seabrook's hit sent Bax flying into the boards and knocked him out of the game. It was a moment that defined the physicality of playoff hockey, and it wasn't without controversy as the hit was deemed borderline by some. 8. Ryan Reaves versus Tom Wilson. When Ryan Reaves hit Tom Wilson in the 2021 playoffs, it was like two freight trains colliding. The collision was massive and both players felt it, but Reaves delivered the crushing blow. The moment solidified Reaves' reputation as one of the toughest players in the league. 9. Shea Weber versus Henrik Zetterberg. Shea Weber of the Nashville Predators laid out Henrik Zetterberg in the 2012 playoffs with a brutal hit that made even the most hardcore fans wince. Zetterberg's head bounced off the glass, but he didn't stay down for long. This hit showed just how dangerous the game can be when you're facing off against a defenseman like Weber. 10. Dustin Byfuglien versus Mark Stone. During the 2015 playoffs, Dustin Byfuglien of the Winnipeg Jets unleashed a thunderous hit on Mark Stone of the Ottawa Senators, sending him flying across the ice. The sheer force of the impact left Stone nursing a wrist injury, a stark reminder of how a single collision can alter the dynamics of a game. Byfuglien's immense size and raw power were on full display, making this hit one of the most devastating moments of the postseason. It underscored why Byfuglien was considered a physical force to be reckoned with in high-stakes matchups. 11. Rasmus Ristolainen versus Jake Guentzel. In a 2018 regular season matchup, Rasmus Ristolainen of the Buffalo Sabres delivered a bone-crunching hit on Jake Guentzel of the Pittsburgh Penguins. The collision sent Guentzel's head slamming into the glass, momentarily leaving him dazed. Despite the force of the hit, Guentzel managed to stay in the game, showcasing his resilience. For Ristolainen, this was a defining moment, a clean but devastating blow that reinforced his reputation as a player who could deliver physicality when it mattered most. The hit remains a vivid example of hockey's intense and unrelenting nature. 12. Darian Hatcher versus Jeremy Roenick. In a moment of physical intensity, Darian Hatcher hit Jeremy Roenick of the Chicago Blackhawks so hard that it sent Roenick sprawling across the ice. The collision was fierce, but Roenick managed to shake it off. This hit was a perfect example of how aggressive the playoffs can get, with players willing to sacrifice their bodies for the win. 13. Matt Cook versus Artem Anisimov. Another infamous hit by Matt Cook occurred in 2015 when he hit Artem Anisimov of the Columbus Blue Jackets. The hit sent Anisimov flying and left him with a shoulder injury. The hit was so brutal that it sparked discussions about how far players should go in delivering physical plays. 14. Scott Stevens versus Eric Lindros. During the 2000 playoffs, Scott Stevens delivered a thunderous hit on Eric Lindros that remains one of the most memorable collisions in NHL history. As two of the league's most formidable players clashed, Stevens' perfectly timed shoulder sent Lindros crashing to the ice, leaving him with a severe concussion. The impact of the hit wasn't just immediate, it had long-term repercussions for Lindros' career. It served as a brutal reminder of the physical toll hockey can take, even on its toughest stars. This iconic moment is still cited as one of the most devastating hits in NHL playoff history. 15. Ryan Suter versus Gabriel Landeskog. In 2012, Ryan Suter of the Nashville Predators laid out Gabriel Landeskog of the Colorado Avalanche with a crushing hit that knocked Landeskog off his feet. The hit was an example of Suter's ability to punish players on the open ice, showing that his physical presence wasn't just about defense, but about delivering devastating hits. 17. Niklas Kronwall versus Martin Havlat. Niklas Kronwall is known for his brutal hits, and the one he delivered to Martin Havlat in the 2011 playoffs was no exception. Havlat was completely blindsided, and Kronwall's hit sent him crashing to the ice. It was a hit that was both clean and devastating, and it left fans in awe of Kronwall's physical presence. 18. Bobby Clarke versus Valeri Kharlamov. In the legendary 1972 Summit Series, Bobby Clarke of Team Canada delivered a hit that changed the course of hockey history. Targeting Soviet star Valeri Kharlamov, Clarke struck a devastating blow that shattered Kharlamov's ankle. The hit was undeniably brutal and widely regarded as a dirty play, leaving Kharlamov unable to perform at his peak. While controversial, the incident has become a defining moment in international hockey lore, showcasing the fierce intensity of the series. Clarke's hit remains one of the most infamous moments in hockey, sparking debates about sportsmanship and the lengths players go to for victory. 19. Dave Semenko versus Paul Baxter. Dave Semenko was a force to be reckoned with in the NHL, known as one of the toughest enforcers of the 1980s. In a game against the Pittsburgh Penguins, Semenko delivered a devastating hit on Paul Baxter that left fans stunned. Baxter was sent flying into the boards with such impact that it visibly knocked the wind out of him. The sheer ferocity of the collision showcased Semenko's raw power and solidified his reputation as a feared enforcer. Moments like these are why Semenko's legacy endures, embodying the grit and intensity of old-school hockey. It's a hit that still resonates as one of the most brutal and memorable in NHL history. 20. Dale Hunter versus Pierre Turgeon. To wrap it up, Dale Hunter of the Washington Capitals delivered one of the most controversial and brutal hits of the 1993 playoffs on Pierre Turgeon of the New York Islanders. Turgeon had just scored a goal, and Hunter hit him from behind, sending Turgeon crashing into the boards. It was a cheap shot, but it remains one of the most talked about moments in playoff history. These 20 most brutal hits are a part of the game's history, showing just how physical hockey can get. Which hit shocked you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notifies you next time, hockey fans.